The annual RRSP contribution limit is calculated by taking 18% of the previous year's earned income up to a maximum amount of money. In 2020, for example, it's 18% of your 2019 earned income up to a maximum of $27,230. But there's more to it than that. Like, how is your total deduction limit calculated? How do you know if you have enough room in your RSP and you make sure you don't over contribute? You need to have the full picture, and you need to plan your RSP deposits to make sure you don't make costly mistakes. In this video, I'm going to give you a few tricks on that, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Julien, Regoli CPA CMA Finance Coach. I'm here to explain financial concepts and money matters in simple terms. If this is a topic that interests you, then sign up to my channel and hit the bell button. You'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Thanks for watching. To help you understand, I think it's important to break down the RSP program into a few components. The first component of an RSP is the account itself. So you put money in this account, and you invest the money, and the investment grows tax-free. So, and the money you put in there are called contributions. They're contributions to the account. They're called also deposits to the RSP account. Then there's the limit as to how much you can deposit into this account. This is called the contribution room. This is the maximum amount of money you can put in an RSP account. The way that's calculated, the RSP contribution room, is simple. It's the sum of all the annual RSP limits. Remember, it's the 18% of your previous year's earned income up to a maximum, minus any deposits you make in your RSP account. And the third component is the deduction limit. Deduction limit has to do with taxes, because as you remember in my previous videos, or if you know, RSPs are important because they reduce your taxable income. But just because you put money in your RSP account, it doesn't mean you will use the deduction straight away. You might want to delay that deduction and carry it over in a future year. Why would you do that? Because maybe you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in a future year. So what you'll do is delay the deduction and then claim it the year when you're in a high tax bracket. So sometimes the RSP room and the RSP deduction limit are different because of that, because you've decided to delay and carry forward the deduction in a future year. What you got to remember is to never exceed the RSP contribution room, because if you do, the government will charge you 1% per month on the amount that you exceed. You got to remember that and be careful and keep your eye on the contribution room. So here's an example of an RSP deduction limit statement. This comes straight out of a notice of assessment following 2019 income tax filing. It's from a client. And the table starts with the 2019 limit, and there's amounts that are added and subtracted in order to determine the deduction limit of 2020, and finally the contribution room for 2020. So this person had a deduction limit of $26,700, decided to use to contribute, deposit, and use as a deduction $26,229. So almost everything was used. And then there's the famous our annual RRSP contribution limit, which is the famous 18% of the earned income up to a maximum of $27,230. This is here, it appears here, plus or minus any pension adjustments. So finally we get the RSP deduction limit for 2020. And from that, if the person, let's say, didn't deduct for tax purposes all their RRSP deposits, there would be an amount here, and the effect would be to reduce the deduction limit in order to calculate the contribution rule. So basically, as you remember, deposits reduce contribution rule. So this would catch that. And the final note here tells you, make sure that you don't over contribute, because if you do, there's going to be a 1% monthly tax on any excess contribution. So this is the amount you want to keep track of, and you never want to exceed that amount, because if you do, you're going to have to pay penalty. So folks, I prepared a video on what's an RSP, so I cover some details on how the RSP works, so take a look at that. Also, if you have any questions on RSPs, leave a comment below the video, I appreciate it. And I did prepare an RSP contribution calculator for you, so take a look at the link in the video description. To find out your RSP contribution room, you'll find that information in the last notice of assessment. You can also log into the CRA website and find that information and find your notice of assessment there. You can also call the federal government. Just keep in mind that the last notice of assessment may not have your last RSP deposit. So if after filing your income taxes you've deposited RSP money, that may not be reflected in your notice of assessment. So keep that in mind. Drop me a note below the video if you have any questions or comments, and feel free to book a one-on-one session with me. To do that, you'll find a link in the video description. I hope the video today helped you out and helped answer some questions around RRSP contribution limits. Stay tuned to my channel because I'll be uploading new content, new videos on personal finance. So subscribe and hit the bell button. You'll be notified whenever I do so. Folks, thanks for your time today, and we'll see you real soon.